Okay, so for holidays, I love having a really cozy, warm beverage that everyone can enjoy. And you could do teas, but you could also do a hot toddy or a spiced cider. I like to make a big pot for everyone. It's so easy. All you do, boil some water, enough for 8 servings, 10 servings. Once it's at a boil, turn it down. You take the entire contents and let it steep in the pot. Now, what happens when you do this? When people come into your house, they go, "It smells so good. What is that?" And you go, "Oh my gosh, let me offer you a drink." And then I would just add a couple details here to just embolden the flavor a bit. Honey adds a really special note. Cinnamon stick is so nice in there as well. You smell the cinnamon, you smell that lemongrass. You could also add a spirit of choice to make it a little bit more grown up, but just on its own, it's the most soothing, especially in cold weather.
Hey y'all, happy Monday. Today, we're going to be talking about Prince Harry heading to Toronto, and we'll also discuss Archewell Foundation standing with Jamaica. We have a lot to get caught up on, so let's get started. Thank you for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, we'll be discussing Prince Harry's upcoming trip to Canada, and we'll discuss Archewell Foundation standing with Jamaica. But before we get into all of that, if you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Our first topic is coming to us today from the Toronto Star. This article was written by Sarah Lang, and it's titled, "Prince Harry will be in Toronto this week. Here's what he'll be doing." The prince, a military veteran, is scheduled to attend several Remembrance Day events. Now, this was posted today, and this was announced today, but I find it to be kind of funny because last week I read a comment and I read it out loud to my husband. Now, my husband I call him an honorary squatty because ever since I started this channel and started talking about Harry and Meghan, although he's not super locked in, anytime he hears anything about them, he emails it to me or texts it to me and goes, "What are your thoughts on this?" And I've told him repeatedly, you have to watch the channel. You do not get exclusive commentary. You watch it with everyone else. If you want exclusive stuff, you could become a member. But no, he's an honorary squatty. And so we went to the Invictus games together in Dusseldorf a couple of years ago, and he kind of keeps up with that side of things when it comes to them. And so I got this comment on one of my shorts that said, now I don't know how to take this, but I'm going to be very honest. I did not feel very optimistic about this comment, and I'm opening myself to possibly being wrong about the tone of it. And so I'm going to just say what it said objectively, but I'm not going to share my feelings while I'm telling you what they said. So basically this person commented and said, "Prince Harry used to do so much for service members and veterans when he was a working royal. I hope they can get back to that and start doing things with military members again." And I don't know, that left kind of a bitter taste in my mouth. Again, the desire for them to continue working with the military is that's great. That's what they do. They have several fronts when it comes to the things they work on. When it comes to philanthropy and their service work, they work with a lot of different groups, a lot of different demographics, a lot of different causes. But to say that Harry did more when he was a senior working royal with the military is kind of insane to me. Now, I will be honest. I have made my internet career kind of centered around their work. So it didn't start out that way, but I definitely felt called to talk about it, and the interest is there. And there's so much to discuss. I mean, they get a lot done. And so they continue to serve not only as an inspiration, but I just really enjoy the type of work that they do. And so because of that, every business day of the year for the last 5 years, I have talked about their philanthropy, their service work, their businesses, their personal life. I've been kind of consumed with them on my channel. And since doing that work, I have actually noticed an uptick in the work that they are able to engage in since leaving the royal family as senior working royals. Now, they are still related to them. That is still their family, and they are absolutely still royal. But as far as being senior working royals, that is no longer what they do. They are now able to work on their own behalf, on the behalf of their foundation, which covers a vast area. And one of the amazing things about that now is that they get to get a lot more done because they don't have to deal with the middleman. They don't have to deal with the hoopla, the red tape, the nonsense. They had to deal with so many hurdles just to help people when they were senior working royals that it's not even funny. It's actually quite sad for an institution that's supposed to be all about the people to go out of its way to inhibit the two people who are working for the people the most to have to jump over hurdles to do their work. It's actually quite insane. When I read Spare and I watched the docuseries, Harry Meghan, the docuseries, one of the things that I kept noticing was how distracted, or how much of a distraction it seemed like the royal family and everything that's in proximity to it, it seemed like they were intending to be. The work that Meghan was doing, she came in guns blazing, boots on the ground, ready to roll. And that was actually seen as intimidating to the rest of the royals because they weren't intending to work that hard, as well as the staff that she inherited. And one thing that I found to be so crazy about that is, if we're all here for the same cause and then you have someone whose engine is revving to go, why would that intimidate you rather than fire you up? As a matter of fact, she should have been meeting you where you were. That should have simply been a meeting of the minds. That shouldn't have been a surprise. It shouldn't have been intimidating. It should have absolutely been, oh, wow, she's just like us. She wants to help people too. What it actually ended up doing was exposing that they aren't there to help people. They're there to help themselves. And by being seen with people in under-resourced and underprivileged areas, they're able to raise their own profile. So when Meghan came in, someone who has her own money, who has her own platform, who has her own things, is ready to roll up her sleeves and get to work, they're intimidated because they had no intention of doing that. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because Harry as well experienced that. The work that Harry has done since before getting married, since becoming married, and since leaving his place as a senior working royal, it can't even be compared. I would even venture to say, before Meghan came into the picture, you can absolutely see the type of work that Prince Harry was engaged in and the lengths that he was willing to go to get that work done. And it isn't comparable to what his brother and his brother's wife were doing. It isn't comparable to what his dad and his stepmom were doing. It wasn't comparable because they're doing it for appearances. Harry had Sentabali, Harry had Invictus Games Foundation, and I also want to bring it back to center. He shared in Spare how he came up with the Invictus Games and what that process was like, and everyone who collaborated and contributed. He shared in great detail all of that work, as well as how the games have grown since then. You can't compare not only the Invictus Games, but the foundation itself. You cannot compare it to what it was 10 years ago. It has grown an immense amount. And that is amazing. That is a testament to not only Harry and Meghan's work, but the entire Invictus Games Foundation's staff and company, or foundation, but also everyone who's involved. And I also want to bring it back to center when it comes to the Invictus Games, because I think a lot of times people forget the Invictus Games is a foundation as well as an event. So the event is biannually, but the foundation exists annually. It exists every day. It's in existence. So they have things that they do all the time, which is why I always encourage people to look at invictusgamesfoundation.org, because it's not just the hub behind the games themselves. It is a foundation, and they continue to work with service members, veterans, and their families. They have so many different services and groups and little communities, and I call them little community pods because they have so many of these little breakouts that happen throughout the year where they continue to operate in service to these same people that come and compete at the games and attend the games, etc. And so it's not just the games themselves, it's what the games represents and then the service that it provides to those people. That has only increased. And as a matter of fact, being that I do follow Harry and Meghan's work pretty closely, I would actually say I've recognized a vast uptick in the amount of work that they are able to engage in and get done, because they don't have to deal with the nonsense that they were having to deal with and those unnecessary hurdles that were being thrown in their way when they were part of the royal family as senior working royals. And so I don't know if that was meant to be shady, as far as to imply that Harry did more work with veterans when he was a senior working royal. I kind of find that to be a little bit asinine, I'm not going to lie, just because you can literally track the amount of work that they're doing, and it's actually right there in front of you. You can go and look at Sussex Royal, or you can go and look at Sussex.com, or you can go and look at Archewell.org. Like, there are so many different places where you can go and see the amount of work, as well as that vast uptick throughout the years since they were able to get away from those intentional distractions and really focus on what they want to do. Now, I find it also to be important to note, Harry and Meghan coined the phrase "service is universal." And when they first were trying to figure things out in America, when they left Canada and trying to figure it out, and there was so much craziness going on, the borders were closing, and they just had a lot of things going on, not only personally, but globally. We were in a pandemic. So there was just a lot of stuff, unprecedented things that were happening. One of the things that really stood out to me, they were going through a lot. It was a small family with a new baby, and they're trying to figure out their place in this organization or outside of this organization. They're still trying to find ways to mediate the issues that they didn't cause. And there's just so much. There's security up in the air. They were facing a lot, right? And something that I noticed in Spare is Harry and Meghan's immediate concern was, Archie, and then their patronages and organizations that they worked for, the communities that they serve. That was their 1 and 2 priority. That has never left me. When I read that, it's something about someone confirming something that you kind of knew in the back of your mind. Like, I've watched their work for a long time. And so I've never doubted their commitment to service. It's actually been something that I've always, applauded them for. But seeing that, and that wasn't the point that he was bringing up. It was just something I took note of how they immediately regrouped. Their first concerns, 1 and 2, were the baby and our communities, our service. That will forever stand out to me, because they don't do it for attention or applause or anything. They do it because it's what matters to them. And I willingly applaud them for it, because we need to see more of it. And so to imply Harry's work with veterans has decreased since no longer being a senior working royal, I would ask you to take a second look, and I would check my sources. And if you're here, I'm a little surprised that you came to that conclusion, because you could literally just search any video. But anyway, I find that to be kind of comical, because this comment came in on Friday, and I read it to my husband, and he looked at me with one eyebrow and was like, "Really? Someone said he's decreased his work?" I was like, "They didn't say that, but they implied that he worked more for veterans when he was a working royal." And Jonathan was like, "People are entitled to having their opinions, but I would always encourage people to research." And I'm like, right, like research is right there, and it's so easy. But funny thing, that came in on Friday, and now he's announcing Remembrance Day events in Toronto a mere 3 days later. You can't make this up. I just find that to be so timely. So anyway, let's get into this article to find out what he will be doing in Toronto. The title of this article is "Prince Harry will be in Toronto this week. Here's what he'll be doing." And again, this is by Sarah Lang. Prince Harry is coming to Toronto this week, days after his wife posted footage from their home theater of him looking bereft while she celebrated the LA Dodgers World Series win, suggesting his baseball loyalties may indeed lie with the team whose country he's in line to inherit the throne of. His earlier appearance at a playoff game in a Dodgers hat notwithstanding, the royal will be spending some time north of the border. Say that 5 times fast. On Monday, the prince's office announced that he would be in Toronto for several events this week, timed to Remembrance Day. This event is at the invitation of True Patriot Love, a charity that supports Canadian veterans. Prince Harry's 2-day visit will kick off on Wednesday with a series of events to support the Canadian Armed Forces and veteran community, followed by a private lunch where he'll discuss international veterans issues. That same evening, he'll be at a fundraising gala for the Halo Trust. Yay! The same landmine removal charity that brought us the famous images of his mother, Diana, walking through a cleared minefield in Angola in 1997 to raise awareness for the issue. Pause. We also saw Prince Harry take that same walk twice. So it's been great to see that he has not only continued to work with the Halo Trust, but just how much they've grown since he's re-engaged with them a couple of years ago. It's been amazing to see that. On Thursday, Prince Harry, who served 2 tours in Afghanistan himself and has made advocacy for military service people a key pillar of his philanthropic purview, goodness, that was a lot, will tour the Veterans Center at Sunnybrook Hospital. He'll cap his visit off with the annual True Patriot Love fundraising dinner. This is the Duke of Sussex's second visit to Canada in 2025. He was in British Columbia in February for the Invictus Winter Games, where he thanked our nation for being really good to him and his wife, Meghan Markle. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex there. That's a nod to the couple's deep history with Canada. They stayed on Vancouver Island for several weeks right after announcing their decision to step back from working royal life in 2020, and much of their courtship seems to have played out in Toronto because of Meghan's work here as an actor filming the TV show Suits. They also made their first public appearance as a couple when the Toronto hosted the Invictus Games. I think that's supposed to be when Toronto hosted the Invictus Games, an Olympics-like competition for wounded service people in 2017. There are some corners of the internet that are raising their eyebrows at the timing of this visit, which happens right when his older estranged brother, Prince William, is in Brazil to celebrate the Earthshot Prize, the future king's flagship sustainability project. People magazine, however, understands code for someone on the inside has told them that this visit was organized over a year ago, and the royals across the pond were told about it. So I would question why Prince William would schedule his Earthshot Prize around the same time as Prince Harry's visit to Canada. Now, Prince Harry's visit to Canada, yes, it was planned a year ago, but again, it's in line with Remembrance Day. So the timing isn't necessarily up to him. it's in honor of Remembrance Day. So his timing is kind of set in stone, whereas Earthshot is up to William, and he chose to make these trips overlap. I don't find that to be a coincidence. It seems like anytime Harry's going to do something, he's like, I want to do something too. And it's kind of like a last ditch effort to look busy. Nah, I don't know. The reason that it's all been announced at the last minute, however, is because of Harry's ongoing concerns about his security, given the fact that he no longer gets government funded protection. I mean, it's smart for them to keep things close to the vest until it's time to launch. That's a smart way to go about anything. Not only for safety reasons, but also to make sure nothing could get in the way. There are no hiccups and everything is ironed out and ready to roll. Anyway, I look forward to covering this. I can't wait to see Prince Harry in Canada. He always gives us some really great speeches and shots and a lot of fun things. I remember when he dropped the puck. So there's a lot that he gives us when he goes to Canada or any of his tours or trips. So I'm looking forward to covering this. And I look forward to hearing more about his gala with the Halo Trust. I can't wait to see the images from that and get more information. What do you guys think about this upcoming trip? Are you as excited as I am? Let me know in the comment section below. Next topic, it's coming to us from Archewell Foundation. You can find this at archewell.org, and it's titled Standing with Jamaica After Hurricane Melissa. Hurricane Melissa has torn through the Caribbean, devastating communities across Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba, and the Bahamas. Many people have lost their lives in one of the strongest Atlantic storms ever recorded, with winds reaching 185 miles per hour. Thousands of homes are gone. Critical infrastructure, hospitals, schools, and water systems lie in ruins. Jamaica, a country the Duke and Duchess hold close to their hearts and last visited in 2024, has been hit especially hard. Towns and villages that are usually vibrant and full of life have been torn apart. Entire neighborhoods remain underwater. More than 3/4 of the island is still without power, and for many families, the question isn't just about rebuilding, it's about making it through the day. But here's what keeps showing up in every report, every photo, every story coming out of Jamaica: people helping people. Neighbors clearing debris together, families sharing what little they have, communities organizing, coordinating, refusing to give up. That's not just resilience, that's the power of community in its truest form. When everything else falls apart, that's what holds. We've been so moved once again by the work of World Central Kitchen, whose teams showed up immediately to serve hot meals to thousands of families, and they're far from alone. Aid workers, first responders, volunteers from organizations large and small, they've all dropped everything to help. Their commitment is extraordinary. These communities need our support now. We've donated and ask you to give whatever support you can, large or small, because every little bit helps. The links below will take you to trusted organizations working directly on the ground in Jamaica and across the Caribbean. Whether you can give financially, donate supplies through NYC drop-off sites, or simply share these resources, it all matters. Thank you. And so they have these links listed, and these will be listed in the comment section below as well. World Central Kitchen, Jamaica Relief Fund, Team Rubicon, All Hands and Hearts, Walk Good Jamaica, and Food for the Poor Jamaica.
By now, most of you know that Jamaica just experienced the most catastrophic hurricane in our history. A Cat 5 monster named Melissa, whose apocalyptic devastation in places like Black River, St. Elizabeth, words can't even describe it. And yes, we have experienced hurricanes before. We've experienced storms, faced them head on, and as Jamaicans, we do come out on the other side because of our resilience and our courage. It's just who we are, and we help to rebuild compassionately together. So yes, we will hold on, we will breathe. We've lost our roofs, we've lost some spirit, we've lost some things. But what we haven't lost is how we face adversity together. Because we're never bludgeoned by adversity, we actually rise to meet it. And as a result, we know that the same sky that brought this storm will bring the sunlight. And that together, whether through screens, whether through parishes, whether through the world, as Jamaicans, we are going to champion our spirit, our neighborly love, and we're going to get through this together. We also know that many of you want to help from across the world. Many of you have been DMing me, asking if we're okay, praying for us. And I just want to say the government has set up a website for donations and also for getting more information. I urge you to use that website. Don't let anybody call you. Don't let anybody say, well, you can give it to us. I've put it in the caption. And I want to just thank you for your prayers, for your love. You know, Jamaica is a beacon in the world, and we continue to be that beacon. We punch way above our weight class, and I know you're thinking of us. And, you know, it's moments like these where we recognize how loved we are, and we just want to tell you we love you too. And to each and every Jamaican, both in Jamaica and around the world, don't worry yourself. We're going to get through this. Thank you.
Lisa, it's good to have you here. I know you've been talking to folks on the ground in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. What are you hearing? What are they telling you? And can you reach everybody you want to hear from?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the program. Yes, my flights were canceled on Sunday morning, and a number of us as Jamaicans are stuck in the United States. What we're hearing on the ground, for those of us who can get in touch with family members, is the devastation is almost apocalyptic. So the south of the island and the western sides of the island, you know, if you're familiar with Jamaica, places like St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Montego Bay, Hanover, and certainly in St. Elizabeth, those are areas that tourists would frequent. Those were the areas where the eye passed over and were hit hardest. Certainly the eastern side of the island, places like Kingston, where about 1 million Jamaicans live, and places like St. Mary and St. Thomas and parts of St. Catherine were not as badly damaged. But certainly we've seen hurricanes before as Jamaicans and tropical storms. We've never seen anything like this. Certainly roofs are completely gone. Roadways are completely gone. People are now getting out there. But the community spirit in Jamaica is very, very high. We're resilient. We're courageous people. The government has now given the all clear for utility systems to get back up and running, for supermarkets and different places of, you know, essential items to start opening up again. And our response teams are on the ground, our police are on the ground, our army is on the ground. So the relief efforts have started, and in Jamaica we have pretty advanced legislation. So what you will see now is almost a parallel activity. You'll see people being rescued in places where there are landslides, especially in rural areas. You will see food items being taken to people, you know, being given medication, etc. And in tandem with that, you'll see utility companies starting to assess where they can turn electricity back on, and you'll see roads being cleared. And so that is the immediate situation that's happening. The Minister of Transport, who I'm in touch with, should inform the country later today whether the airports for essential items will be open later today, and whether or not you will certainly have the airport in Kingston being opened.
You sound confident. You sound determined. But I wonder, emotionally, this is your home. What goes through your mind when you see some of the pictures? And again, these are not the worst hit areas. We were actually talking on the air the last hour to somebody who had been on the phone with a friend in St. Elizabeth, and they got cut off just as he was telling them that the water was coming through their roof.
Listen,
what are you even feeling right now?
We haven't slept. I can tell you, those of us who are here have been on the phone all night together. My former constituency, which was the Member of Parliament for 18 years, I was helping 2 nights before the hurricane to still get zinc and plyboard and food to people. And I'm still in touch with them. The roofs are completely gone in some of those areas. There are communities that are decimated, and this is in St. Anne. There is a level of emotional fatigue that we feel, but as Jamaicans, we're resilient, and we rise to meet adversity. That's probably why you hear the determination in my voice, because we're not people that are bludgeoned into acquiescence by adversity. So yes, our spirits are a little down, but trust me, we're already on the road and we're helping. We're very compassionate people. And already the relief efforts have started from around the world, and our diaspora, you know, when things seemed intractable, the Jamaican diaspora rises, and we have very, very good relationships in the diplomatic community as well. So, yeah, it's hard because a lot of people have been displaced, but all of us are going to help. It doesn't matter if we were not displaced, we're going to help those that are. And so hopefully by tomorrow I'll get home and I'll be right on the ground with everybody else trying to help this recovery effort.
We'll keep our good thoughts that you will. And to all the folks in Jamaica and all the folks who love them, we are wishing you only the best. I will tell you, we spoke, I think it was yesterday, with somebody from one of those groups in Florida that was, they had hundreds of people that they were getting ready to pack stuff up and get ready to bring aid over. So it's coming, that's for sure. Lisa Hanna.
It is.
Lovely to meet you over
Nice
television.
meeting you.
Thank you.
Lisa, what are you seeing yourself and hearing from Jamaicans about the scope of the damage on the island?
First of all, thanks for having me on. Hi, Erwin. So the scope is devastating. It's unprecedented in terms of a crisis, but I just want to make it very clear that all of Jamaica is not decimated. It is the southwest and the northwest parishes that have basically, as I said before on one of your programs, been almost apocalyptic. So you have St. James, Hanover, places in Trelawney, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland that appear to have and certainly feel like it has had a nuclear bomb fall on it. But certainly Kingston was spared, and some of the central areas and the eastern part of Jamaica, which is still open. Certainly Kingston doesn't appear as if Melissa even came over. We have lost roofs in some places and electricity. I was listening to the lady and she's right, because the power lines are still down and we have no electricity in some of those places. It's difficult to pump water, but the government is on top of things. They have the army in place. There's been tremendous international aid that is coming in from across the world. Jamaicans are pulling their weight and doing yeoman service in terms of getting aid to people, food. And so now there are command centers that are being established. There are committees that are in place. And the diaspora is really working to send aid in, as well as the diplomatic community and the multilateral community. So yes, it is an unprecedented crisis for us, but we're resilient and we're working through it.
Thank you so much for watching the SharionSade YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching my content. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video by hitting the thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. And don't forget to comment along the way. If you feel so inclined, please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Now let's get back to the video. It's wonderful to see the Archewell Foundation, World Central Kitchen, and all of the other organizations and people show up for Jamaica, as well as every other area that was impacted by Hurricane Melissa. And it was great to see Lisa Hanna discuss it. I follow her on social media. If I'm not mistaken, I think she follows me too, but I follow her on social media and I keep up with everything that's going on in Jamaica because of that. And she's such a boots on the ground type of person. She is actually a 4-term member of parliament, and she was a former cabinet minister. And I think she is a UNDP Goodwill ambassador, a columnist, and she was Miss World 1993. So she has a lot of accolades and a lot of titles. And so she is very, very, very well connected. So I always appreciate when she lends her voice to these situations. And she's very encouraging. It was really great to see her not only share the devastation, but continue to give that uplifting message there at the end. It reminds me of a couple other people that I know of and how they handle crises. But anyway, I wanted to share that just because if you weren't aware of how to contribute to Jamaica, I wanted to make that as easy as possible. And I really appreciate World Central Kitchen and the Archewell Foundation for stepping up as always. Not surprised, but always impressed. That is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Members, you will be getting a new video today. And then I also wanted to say thanks to everyone who's submitting their recommendations for the channel name change. I am loving, I don't know how we're going to pick because I have seen so many really, really, really good names. So thanks so much for contributing. Keep them coming. I cannot wait to vote on them next month. That's all I have. Thanks for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.